How you guys doing today? Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I first got this idea when I was preparing a video about a year or so ago, and I didn't have enough footage to complete the sequence that I wanted, but I noticed that I had a picture that was the exact angle that I needed. So I thought, how can I be creative here? What can I do? And when I did put it up in the video, no one even noticed it was a photo. Now obviously that's not really the case here, but the same concept applies. Is where you could make add motion to your photos in a creative way and have them add to your videos. All right, so let's dive in how to do this. This is all done in Premiere with regular photos. There's no Photoshop, just cutting, keying, and all that. So go ahead and pick out the photos that you want, edit them first, and then bring them over into Premiere. One thing to keep in mind when choosing your photos is that it's going to be easy to mask out. So you don't want anything that's going to be too complicated or overly complex. Just the simpler the better. You want to look for straight lines, somewhere where the sky is separate from the rest of the story. If you've got like trees or anything, you can do that, but I would recommend going into Photoshop and painting that out. Because if you put a mask on there, it will probably not look very good, or you'll be there all day trying to make it look decent. All right, so let's go into Premiere and let's check this out. Okay, so I dropped all my clips over into my bin, and I have named them just for reference. So these are the photos I'm going to be using. I'm going to show you guys how to make both sequences here. And right now we're going to start with the one titled Aquarium Window. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop it on the timeline. Premiere will automatically size it if it's the first thing you dropped on your timeline. So you want to make sure that you set up your sequence to what you want to keep it at. In my instance, as you guys know very well, okay, this is the frame rate that I like, and then I will move the editing mode over to 1080p square pixel. Okay, uncheck. Okay, now this is a photo. You're not really able to, you can't really do proxies on here, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to keep that at about 46, looks good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on here. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do now is you want to go over to your effects panel after you've sized everything and find Ultra key. So I type in Ultra and there it is. And I'm going to drop Ultra key on here. I am going to pull out a section what I think should go. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to where it says matte cleanup. I'm going to soften this. Even though there's natural grain coming from the window, I still want to get as much of this gone as I can. Okay, and that looks pretty good over there. So now the next step you want to do is you want to go over to the pen tool. And you want to create a mask around this. So what I like to do is I like to zoom in to about 400%. Now don't worry if it looks bad now. Okay, so I'll start on this end. Then I'm going to bring it to the pillar over here. And this has a similar color to the rest, so I just want to make sure that that is correctly unaccounted for in the keying. So I'm just going to make a mask around that. It's nice and big. I'm not going to worry about the other lines because they're dark. They're solid. They look solid black. So it's not really anything to worry about. And another good thing too is about making masks over here is that it's not on a video, so you don't have to do this a bunch of times. You just do it once, and then you are good to go. And if you need to apply it to another one, the same mask, you can just copy and paste it, and it'll work just fine. Okay, so we don't need to get this 100% accurate. Notice that I'm not trying to curve it or anything. The reason why we are creating the mask around here is so that way it will preserve the details and they won't be keyed out when we go to add the other layers. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to keep as many details in there as we can. Okay, so now we've made it all the way across, and I am going to go on the outside and just close this up right here. I want to make sure to get it nice and high so that way I'm out of the way of the other points that I've made. Okay. And now that that's like that, I'm going to close up the box. I am going to bring this back down to fit. Okay, so there we go. Now this is fully separated and masked out. So step number 2 is I'm going to go and drag the clouds over here. I want to put this above there. Okay, so I'm going to cut this clip right here. I'm going to press C for cut. It'll automatically line me up. Then I'm going to hit V to get my cursor back. Highlight it, delete it, it's gone. Okay, so now you could already see it's starting to shape up a little bit. We've got our background. It looks okay, but I want to do just a little bit better here. Let's grab our moon. Let's put that in there, and let's make sure that it's the correct size. Okay, so this has a black screen. Obviously, it was shot at night. It's the moon, and it's rather large here. But so I'm going to go to normal, the opacity blending mode. I'm going to make that screen, so now you can see everything again. And okay, so now here comes the fun parts. Let's start playing around with the size and how everything's going to look. Okay, now that's a big moon, but we want to be able to see it. Okay, so 44 is about good. Let's pull this over here. Bring it down. Okay, so now I'm going to add a point. And then I'm going to drag it. Since it's a photo, it's still, and it doesn't matter at which point you do it. I like to do it over here instead of bringing it there. And then I'll figure out, okay, well, now where do I want it? Let's bring it down. Like that. And then let's make it a little bigger. Okay. Now let's go through and let's see how this looks real quick. Just gonna hit play. Yeah, pretty decent. Okay, cool. So now over here on the window, we want to add a little bit of motion to that too. So I'm going to go ahead and set position keyframes. Bring that all the way to the end. So there's our start point. Now over here, sure, we can make this about 60. And let's do that. Now let's see how this looks. Okay. There's just one thing too. I mean, you could make this more subtle if you want. Sometimes if, yeah, let's do this. Let's put the keyframe right in the middle of that because that seemed a little bit too fast. I'm going to drag those to the end. Okay, this should look much better now. Okay, so now what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead, and I know I want to color this all a little bit differently. I'm just going to go ahead and throw an adjustment layer on there. Let's make it the regular one. Let's put this on top. Okay, now this adjustment layer, let's go over to lumetric color, and I would like to make everything more yellow. And drop out some highlights. Add a little bit of contrast. Brighten it up just a bit. Take down the whites just a tad. Add a little more blacks. Pull out saturation just a tad. Okay, that looks good. In the clouds, not 100% happy with the blue. I want to make it look a little bit darker. Okay. And now the aquarium window. Let's darken that as well too, but the moon is good the way it is. Okay. So that looks about fair right now. Okay, so now we have our moving picture. Okay. Now let's do the second one. So I'm gonna grab Dolphins. Let's call this Dolphins. Okay, now this one is more or less pretty simple. Let's get this size the way we want it to. Okay, that looks about good right there. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to hold down on the Alt key, drag this up, make 2 layers. The top one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the opacity mask, and I'm going to draw around this guy. We don't need to get all fancy for him. We're just going to feather out the outside. So I'm going to make the feather larger. Let's undo this so that way we can see. Okay, that looks okay. Okay. Now we're going to right click, go to nest, hit OK. Okay, now this looks the way we want it to. Let's take the scale. I'm going to add a keyframe for scale. And then also another keyframe position. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to make this about, well, we don't want to make it too large. Let's make it about 131 is okay. Kind of an odd number, but okay. Let's see how this looks. Well, let's get them bigger. Let's position him to cover himself. So that's the thing, is we want him to make him bigger, but we also want to make sure to cover it in the background. So it kind of looks like he's moving forward. Okay. So I'm going to move that over. Let's watch this back real quick. Make sure that that looks okay. Okay. Looks good. Now the under, what I want to do here is, it looks okay, but we can do better. Let's add a keyframe for rotation. I'm going to go at 0 for that, but then I'm going to end, let's make it, let's make it 4. But I am also going to zoom in just to cover this. Just enough. Okay. So I'm going to take that, drag it to the end, go back to the beginning, press play, and we're going to see how this looks. Okay, and there you have it. Here are your moving pictures. Very simple technique, but can be used to spice up a video, make it a little more interesting, especially if you don't have enough clips to cover your sequence. I'm sure you guys are out there taking pictures. There's a lot you can do with it. You know, you can add them to title sequences, videos, introductions, or just anything. You know, you can make a little post on Instagram for them too. I'm sure you'll get a lot of popularity that way. And the next step is to just add music and let it go. All right, well, thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you're new here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe. If you think it's share-worthy, I would feel very blessed if you wanted to share it and get the word out there. Hopefully I will see you guys soon. All right, well, you guys take care.